Hello and welcome back to Lord Fenton Gaming Plays Baldur's Gate 3. I'm your host Lord Fenton. In this Baldur's Gate 3 build video, we're doing the pure Druid Circle of the Land Ultimate DPS build. As always, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more Baldur's Gate 3 builds like this. Do not forget notification bells to be updated and more. Now, here's the pros and cons of this build. Number one, certain spells, if you have your high concentration right, you'll be able to do a lot of damage. In other words, you'll be able to cast certain spells over and over again. Number two, you get to definitely select in and out certain druid spells you definitely want to use. Another good thing as well, has some very nice powerful AoE damage. Also, you're very versatile in the healing department. So not only you do damage, you could definitely heal as well. Now, disadvantages are follows. Yeah, your mobility, it sucks. And number two, I feel like it's concentration heavy. So if you break a concentration, you lose, I'd say, a spell slot. Instead, just cast the same spell over and over again, like, for example, Call Lightning. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the character creation process. Let's go over the races now. I'm going to go ahead and say this now. Jaheira is the best for this build. Now, if for some reason you cannot get Jaheira, then use one of the hirelings to do so. You just got to respect the hireling, of course, for additional 100 pieces of gold. These races are just suggestions. You use any races since there's no ability score boosters also. Let's go over the first type. Let me make sure I just check everything before talking about the Elven race. Yeah, still big changes in this game over the other Dungeon Dragon ones. Elves, they have base speed of 9 meters per turn, which is good. That's all elves. They have elven weapons, so you can use long swords and short swords, even short bows and long bows. They have dark vision, so they see up to 12 meters, which is good. Now, Fey Ancestry, they have advantages on save throws against being charmed and cannot be magically put to sleep. That's about 2 crowd controls you get to handle. Now, High Elves is the best elven race to go. You get yourself a level 0 spell for free. Now, another good race is Wood Elf for movement speed. Add 1.5 movement speed to the 9 meter one, which is all good. And now you get to select a level 0 spell if you want to. I should say Tieflings are next, 9 meters per turn, which is good. They also have dark vision. In other words, you see in the dark. And here's the last thing, hellish resistance. You have resistance to fire damage. You only take half of fire damage, which is good. I'm always Tieflings the way to go. They get produce flame, layer on darkness, and other spells as well. So let's go ahead and talk about the Drow race. No, human. I thought it was Drow, but it's human on my sheet. Humans have 9 meters per turn for movement speed, which is good. They have civil militia, have some decent weapons out of it, and armor too. But here is their winning deal. Human versatility, they get an extra skill point. This class usually gets 4, they get 5. That's a huge advantage over everybody else. So this way you have more options when you use dialogue and such. Now next up is the half-elf. They have base movement speed of 9 meters, which is good, just like both counterparts. They have the human side civil militia, which is not bad. Now they have their elven side, which is, you guessed it, dark vision, which is 12 meters, which is great. And they have Fey Ancestry, which is advantages against being charmed and also cannot be put to sleep. I want to say either high half-elf, just like Jaheira, since she is 1, or a wood half-elf, which gives you more movement speed, which is, again, 1.5 meters. So let's definitely go over the next race. Halflings, their movement speed is 7.5 meters. A little bit less than the other races, but that's all right. They have other good things, so let's go over that. Lucky, so when they roll 1, attack rolls, ability checks, or saving throws, you get the do-over. It's a nice do-over. Brave, you have advantage on saving throws against being frightened, so it helps you out against another crowd control that's being thrown against you. Now, Lightfoot halflings are good because they have a natural advantage on stealth checks, which is nice from time to time. That's why I picked that. And strong, I picked this one as also Strongheart halflings. They have advantage on saving throws against poison and resistance against poison too. Good for starting out. Gnomes, they have 7.5 movement speed, which is really nice. And of course, they have advantages on saving throws that are intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And yeah, we have wisdom. That's going to be our main stat of this build. And I'm going to just go ahead and say this now. I say Forest Gnome's the way to go because they get free speak with animals. No buying those potions, but that is very nice. And they can see up in the dark for up to 12 meters, which is good. Now I'm going to go ahead and suggest either the half. I should probably suggest the high elf or the Asmodeus tiefling. Still, it's up to you on that. Now we got ourselves some level 0 spells. I'll go over them. Guidance. The target gains 1d4 bonus to ability checks. Great for dialogue and other checks as well in the dialogue system. One of the 3 must-haves. Poison spray that does 1 to 12 damage. That's not bad at all. Now another thing I'm going to go ahead and talk about next is, let's see here, produce flame. You get flame, you throw it, that does 1 to 8 fire damage. It's alright. Other races, like 1 or 2 other races have it. Avoid it. Resistance. This will give you saving throws of 1d4 bonus, which is good. Now this will turn your weapon into a magical one, which deals 4 to 11 blunt damage. It has to be a club or a quarterstaff. Thorn Whip, this deals 1 to 6 damage. And if the target can be pulled to you. It's like, get over here. I selected Guidance and Slay in that one. So let's, you can also select Thorn Whip as well. Now for backgrounds, I'm going to be honest, the best one is Folk Hero. And Outlander is a good second one, so pick one of those 2. Now for ability points, let me go over these. Wisdom, that's your +2. Put your Constitution, I'll probably say put your Dexterity as your +1. Now if you're more of a shifter, that's why I'd go switch to Constitution. We're not doing that with this build, but first, Strength at 10, and we'll keep it average. Dexterity at 16, help us with our armor class and other things that matters too along with that. Constitution 14 gives us a little bit more hit points, which we'll definitely need for this build. Let's see. Intelligence will keep, I'll probably say definitely at 8. That's going to be our low point of this build. Still, Wisdom we're at 16. We're going to get to 20 by the time we do finish up leveling up our character. Now, Charisma we're going to keep at 10. We'll be average on the talking skills, which is nice. As far as skills go, I'm going to definitely say is nature, ammo handling, and survival. Those are the top 3. If you want to go for definitely medicine, since that is a wisdom type of deal, and perception, which is good. Now, if you're a human, whatever one you didn't pick, your medicine or perception, then you pick the other. I decided to do perception, nature, survival, and of course, one of the other ones. Now, as for, I say if you're a human, yeah, I'm picking medicine. See, we'll get +3 in that as well. See, we got selected that. So once we're done, we're going to go ahead and do what we're going to do next exactly, is you guessed it, talk about our level 1 spells. Good news about spells in the game, you can switch them in and out at any time. So let's go over our level 1 spells, or in some circles, circle 1 spells. Ice Knife, this does 3 to 22 damage. First is 1 to 10 piercing, then explodes during 2 to 12 cold damage. And of course you can slow them down, which is good. Entangle, this will hold foes into place, that's not bad. As for the Ice Daggers, they're really good. Fog, this will put a fog there, it blinds, and heavy scares anybody in the area, which is alright. Speak with Animals, I probably say was use potions that speak with animals, or unless you're force gnome, then use their special one. Now, Animal Friendship, this is just used to crowd control animals to not attacking you. Higher difficulty, they'll attack you once the battle's over. Charm, you can charm a humanoid to make sure they don't attack you. They'll attack someone else, which is not bad. Thunder Wave, this is like an AoE spell. It pushes foes back. Does 2 to 16 damage, which is pretty decent. Healing Word is, does 4 to 7 healing. It's far reach. It's not a touch spell, which is good. Now, this is the Cure Wounds, which is a touch spell. When you heal someone close, it does 4 to 11 healing, which is nice. Fairy Fire, so when you put this on someone, they have disadvantages on their attack rolls, while you have advantages against them, which is not bad for starting out, by the way. Enhanced Leap, it gives you jumps a bit more better. I'd probably say Potion of Vaulting is the way to go on that. Long Stride, this will add 3 meters of movement speed, which is not bad. Good Berry, so each Good Berry heals 1 to 4 hit points. I'd probably say Potions will do the job. Create or Destroy Ward. Now, this will create Ward. This is really useful in some encounters. So definitely remember you can swap spells in and out. I decided to do is Ice Knives. Both of the healing spells, Healing Word, and of course, Cure Wounds. And I decided to do Thunder Wave so I could do some nice DPS as well. So let's go ahead and start leveling up our character. Now we're on our way to leveling up our character from 2 to 12. So I'm going to go over everything as much as possible. I'm going to definitely avoid some of the shifting forms, in other words, wild shape. Since this build's going to be more focused on spell casting instead of wild shape. And we get ourselves a specialization available at 2 already. We get ourselves another level 1 spell slot. See, there's the wild shape we get, and other wild shapes as well. Now, we do get a nice action. What happens is replenish extended spell slots while out of combat. Now, this is once per long rest. This is very good. You want to replenish a level 3 spell slot, hit that. Or definitely do Circle of the Land. Now, Circle of the Moon focus more on shifting, and Circle of the Spores focus more on spore spells. So let's go ahead and select our level 0 spell. So you got to make sure if you did not do Thorn Whip, do that. If you did not do Guidance, do that. Somehow Jaheira got selected on Thorn Whip and, of course, the Blunt spell. But either one of those 3 are good to select from 1 to 2. I'm going to go ahead and select at this point in time Fairy Fire, which is nice. Now we're at level 3. So we get some level 2 spells we get to go over, and we gain a passive. Now, passives are really nice because you get to pick 2 more spells, but you have to pick a type of the Circle of the Land. So Bark Skin, this will give you 16 HC up to. I say use a Bark Skin potion. Now, Dark Vision, you see 12 meters in the dark. Avoid that because there's potions, there's other items that will make you do that. Enhance ability, this is a good one. It gives ability of your choice to someone. So this way to use that in combat, I should say in dialogue. They'll roll 2 dice instead of 1. Flame Blade, this will do 3 to 18 damage and sheds a nice beam of light. This is not bad at all if you want to go that route. Flaming Spear, summons Flaming Spear. You get to toss at foes. Does 2 to 12 fire damage, which is pretty decent. Gust of Wind, you can knock foes off balance. If they are off balance, they'll be like that for 1 round. Decent crowd control spell. Now, next up is Heat Melt. This is a pretty good one. It heats metal of our foes. It does 2 to 16 fire damage, and they have to get rid of their weapon. They'll drop it on the ground, which is a good spell. Hold Person, now it holds humanoid enemies. When they're held, they'll always be critical hit upon. Great spell. Lesser Restoration, it will cure the following diseases: poison, paralysis, and blindness. You have any of those, this is good. Moonbeam, this is one of the best spells for level 2. It does 2 to 20 damage in a little small area. Usually nails 1 foe, and it's good. It takes half damage if they get their saving throw. It's a concentration, so you do over and over again. Pass Without Trace is not a bad spell. Gives you plus 10 bonus to stealth checks for everybody. Now, protection from poison. Not only it will get rid of poison, it'll also do a little protection on that. Spike Growth, this is good. Anybody who steps in the Spike Growth area takes 8 damage, and their movement speed is destroyed. I'm going to go ahead and suggest this one right now for Circle of the Land Coast. You get Mirror Image. 3 images you appear. Each of those images 3 armor class. That's a total of 9. Really useful at the start of the game. Misty Step, use that to teleport around. So if any enemies try to buzz toward you can move to a higher ground or somewhere safer. I decided to do Spike Growth because that's a really good spell and to abuse and use. Let me go ahead and select that. I did Moonbeam, and I should have Spike Growth in there. Now, if you don't want to do Spike Growth, another good one's Heat Metal or Hold Person. So that's a good selection, like I said, before you go in and out on the spells. All right, we're at level 4. Every 4 levels, we get ourselves a free feat. Let's see here. Another level 2 spell slot. Wild Shape, which is not bad. I'm going to go ahead and suggest Resistance. Yeah, do that one. So this way you give resistance on saving throws. You have advantage on those, which is always good. I mean, come on. You have to cast that before combat, though. So let's go ahead and select our Prepare Spells. Oh, good. Spike Growth is there. We'll keep that. You don't want that. Heat Metal is a good way to go, just depending on the situation. Now, I like to do the other stuff before ability scores. The best way to go for this build is Warcaster. You have advantages on saving throws to maintain concentration on a spell. This is very good because we'll be concentrating quite a bit on our DPS spells and others. You can use Reaction to cast Shocking Grip on a target if they start to move out of melee range. That's another nice bonus feature as well. Ding, level 5. And no, we don't get extra attack, unfortunately. Not this class. We get ourselves a level 3 spell slot. We get Wild Strike, so this way for our Wild Shape if we go that route. Call Lightning, it does 3 to 30 damage in a small area. You get to cast it over and over again with concentration when you take 1 foe out with it. And don't spend a spell slot after that. Save throw, it takes half. I advise definitely picking that as your number 1. Now, Daylight, this is a good spell. You drop in an area, brightens up the area. It's also great for a few encounters and some parts of a certain land. Feign Death, this puts an ally into a coma. They become resistant to all damage types except for psychotic, and it cannot be diseased and poisoned. Now, that's not bad at all. Plant Growth is a good one. Cores a foe's movement, so this way you move away. Protection for Energy is like a nice resistance spell for acid, cold, fire, lightning, and thunder. So you have issues with certain bosses that does that, then yeah, that's the spell to go. This one's a good one. Sleet Storm. Calls forth a storm that disrupts concentration of spellcasters, douses fire, and creates icy surface so they slip. Good multi-utility AoE spell. Now, for Circle of the Land, I decided to, let's go here, Mountain. Number one, you get Lightning Bolt. It's a frontal damage spell. And Fly. Yeah, you're flying around nicely, so you move to another area. That's the two reasons why I selected those. Let me go ahead and select that one out of the way. Fairy Fire. I'm doing Call Lightning and Sleet Storm. Still, you could change your spells out after leveling. Now we're at level 6, everyone. So let's definitely go over our selections and much more. We get Land Stride. So difficult terrain does not affect us anymore with a Druid. This is exactly the same as the Ranger version. So you put down the Plant's Growth. You move around, nothing happens. Your foes move towards you. They get slowed down, not you. Now we get to prepare another spell. Let me get rid of that one. I'm going to go ahead and say Plant Growth for some serious trolling. Again, you get to select what spells in and out depending on what situation you're stuck in. Now we're at level 7, so let's go on and do that. We get ourselves Circle 4 spells or level 4 spells, depends on how you feel. See? Blight, this does 8 to 64 damage. Plant damage always takes the maximum amount. Half the same. If they do a saving throw, they only take half. There's no effect on undead or constructs, but this is the ultimate plant killer. There's some devastating plants in the Shadow Curse lands in Act 2. Good spell to pick, though, before entering, or you just enter it, depending on how much experience you squeeze in Act 1. So let's go to the next one, which is Confuse. Confuse a group of enemies. They'll attack anyone at random. This is a good, nice AoE spell to crowd control. As long as they're not, near you, you're all right. Conjure Minor Elemental. This will conjure a Minor Elemental to help you out. It's another follower spell, so if you need help, summon that. So let's go ahead and go over the next one, which is another one as well. Conjure a Woodland Being. You conjure a Dryad. She could use Nature Step, Entangle, and summon a Wood Ward, which is another summon, so you get 2 summons total out of that, which is good. Dominate Beast. You could control a beast to fight for you. And, of course, it has to make a Wisdom save. So this way, it keeps in Dominus or not. It can't, depends. Freedom Movement, in other words, snaps allies out stun, and also difficult terrain cannot be paralyzed or restrained, which is a good spell. Grasp Spine, a vine comes up, it attempts to grab someone. If so, it's a nice holding spell. Ice Storm does 6 to 40 damage. Very powerful AoE spell. Now, if they make a save throw, they take half, but still, it's nice. It also slows them down. Polymorph, this will transform foe into a sheep. Good spell to use and abuse. Stone Skin, when you cast this, the person with this on only takes half damage from blunt, piercing, and slashing damage. You have to maintain concentration. That's the downside, but upside is someone will get buffed up like crazy. Wall of Fire, drop this in front of you. Anybody crosses the Wall of Fire does 5 to 40 damage. Saving throw, they take half. I say do Arctic for one reason, conjure Minor Elemental, which is really nice. It's a good summon. Another thing is Ice Storm. I'm going to be using that quite a bit, so this will always be Scribe. So it'll be the most important level 4 spell I'll definitely abuse and use. So let me go ahead and get rid of, let's see here. Yeah, let me go ahead and do this. Yeah, I think I'll get rid of that for now. I'm decided to do is Blight. That's a nice level 4 DPS spell, signal target, but it's good. And I think I'm going to do a Stone Skin in case I want to help my party members out. Now at level 8, every 4 levels of 4, you get your feats. Now, we'll get our prepare spells. So let's prepare another one. Let's get rid of Wall of Fire. I'm going to go ahead and do either Conjure Woodland Being or Freedom Movement. Those 2 are good. Also, Sleet Storm is good to bring back as well. Now, for our feat, we're going to do Ability Improvement. We're going to do Wisdom. Put all your points into Wisdom. Our spells are based off of that. So we'll get that to 20 by the time we're done leveling up naturally. So That's about it for level 8. Now we're at level 9, everyone, so here's the deal. We get some nice features and new spells. Let's see, yep, 4 and 5. Let's talk about each one of those first. Conjure Elemental, the most powerful, or first or most powerful, I should say, definitely summoning spell. You summon a very powerful elemental to fight for you. Really useful, definitely helps out against certain bosses. The more the merrier. Contagion, poison the target, possibly afflicts him with a disease of your choice. Not a bad spell to annoy enemies with. Great Restoration, now this will cure any charms, petrification, stuns, and curses. So this is like Remove Curse Plus. Great spell to abuse and use. Insect Swarm, underdog spell. It does a lot of things. 4 to 40 damage it does in this area. Also makes it difficult to train and give disadvantages on foes on their perception check. That's good. Saving throws, they take half. Mass Cure Wounds. This is a Cure Wound spells, but it heals everybody for 728 hit points. And a nice range. It's great to use. Planar Binding, it will do is you have to target an elemental, celestial, fey, or a fiend to have them fight for you for 10 rounds, which is not bad. Wall Stone, this will do a Wall Stone so they go around you. By the time they go around you, they're dead. I'm going to go ahead and pick the one I'm going to definitely select. And let me see here. This took me a while to pick, so don't mind me. I decided to definitely do Swamp. You get Insect Plague for free, or I call it Insect Swarm. And Cloud Kill, which does 5 to 40 damage. You drop it down, you can maintain concentration on that as well. Let me go ahead and select some spells. I'm going to do Mass... let me get rid of the Cure Wounds and do Mass Cure Wounds, which is always good. Another thing I'll do is Greater Restoration. That is very nice. Again, you can switch them in and out. And Conjure Elemental. That is a must. Now we're at level 10, so we're closing on that cap. So we get a few things, as you see before you. Improved Wild Shape, Wild Strike, that's not bad. Level 5 spell slot, level 0 spell select. Nature's Ward, you can't be charmed or frightened by elementals and fey. Diseases and poison no longer affect you. These are like a whole bunch of positives for druids, so take that in. Another Wild Shape is a dino. Pick Poison Spray, that's the best out of the two. You do 3 to 36 poison damage. Spray 4, you do a lot more thanks to your wisdom being up there. Let me go ahead and select which one. I'm going to do Freedom Movement, so this way I start curing people, which is good. Now we're at level 11, so we're closing on that cap, and we get some level 6 spells. Here we go. There are some very good ones. Heal, it heals you for 70 hit points. Now, if this was an expansion or something like that, it'll heal more beyond level 12. So it's a great healing spell. It's the ultimate one. Hero's Feast, you put down some food, everybody gets a hit points up. Advantages on wisdom saves, cannot be poison, disease, or frightened. That's not bad at all. Sunbeam, this does a 6 to 48 damage, which is a line, blinds all targets if they don't make a save. Great against the undead. You can use it over and over again until your concentration breaks. Ultimate spell to use. Wall of Thorns, so you drop it down, any foes go through the wall, they take 7 to 56 damage, and they can be entangled. And yeah, their movement speed's quarter. Windwalk, this does is transfer yourself and allies into a mist. You become resistant to non-magical damage. You have advantages on Constitution, Dex, and Strength saves. It's a get out of jail free spell if you are in deep doo-doo, but I suggest Sunbeam. That's the best way to absolutely go, because you get to cast that over and over definitely again. Now we're on level 12. That's the last level, so we get to pick some new feat. I'm going to suggest selecting as heal. Again, you can select these out of combat, which is good. Ability improvement, do wisdom. So we got wisdom to 20. And that's about it for leveling up from 2 to 12. Let's go ahead and talk about permanent stat boosts. In Baldur's Gate 3, there are 3 ways to boost up your permanent ability scores. 1 for each act, so I'll go over them. In Act 1, we fight Auntie Ethel for the first time. If you drop her underneath 10 hit points, she'll grovel for her life. If you choose to let her live, what happens is you get a +1 ability score of your choice. She'll give it to you, you consume it, and there's your +1 ability. Avoid your paladin doing this because they might be an Oathbreaker, especially the Oath of Vengeance. Yeah, they want to kill everything in sight. Of course, that is evil against their beliefs. Now, in Act 2, with the stare on your party, you got to have him in your party for this. If not, this will not work. In the Moonrise Towers, Avraja, that is the drow who sells potions and some nice endgame items, will want Asteron to bite her. Convince him to do so. If you do it, then he'll bite her. You'll get some disapproval from him. However, you get a +2 strength potion. I'm going to advise giving the strength potion to someone else who's more used of this than, I should say, your druid in this build, because, yeah, you're more like, staying slinging spells instead of just whacking everything in sight. Last but not least is the Mirror Loss. 3 possible outcomes can happen after you pass some intelligence check, like, for example, Religion and Arcana. You pass those 2, you lose your stats. Don't do number 7, you get nothing out of it. So after your stat losses, first outcome is you get automatic +1 charisma and +2 stat of your choice. Pick wisdom. The second time, you just get the +2 stat of your choice. Again, pick wisdom. Last but not least, if you're really unlucky and fail the hidden charisma checks, you get nothing, not a zilch. Many people respect their characters to intelligence and charisma to max it out. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the Mirror Loss demonstration, because the strength potion, I advise again not to give it to yourself. Just give someone like Lizelle or a person in your party you use a lot for your meat shield. Now, when you do get to House of Grief in Act 3, after you get past a certain encounter one way or another, so here's what you gain after so many of the checks you pass, and you lost the stat of your choice. Number 1 is +2 strength you gain. Number 2 is +2 dexterity. Number 3 is +2 constitution. Number 4 is +2 intelligence. Number 5 is +2 wisdom. You want to pick +2 wisdom with this build. And number 6 is +2 charisma. Now, for this demonstration, the paladin's going to pick the +2 charisma. Now, the loss you could definitely cure with Great Restoration and or remove curse. Yeah, you definitely want to do this. You have a one-time deal of doing that, so pick wisely. Again, +2 wisdom. So let's go ahead and do the before and after. After you do the permanent stat boosts, so I'm going to go ahead and give the before and afters. Before, this is as if you're level 12. Strength 10, Dexterity 16, Constitution 14, Intelligence 8, Wisdom 20, and Charisma 10. Now, after you do the stat boosts minus the Strength Potion, unless you did the Strength Potion, then your Strength will be 12. But for now, here we go. Strength 10, Dexterity 16, Constitution 14, Intelligence 8, Wisdom 22, 23 if you decide to spare Auntie Ethel and use the item for yourself. It's an odd number, but there's a certain time, I should say, towards the end of the game that'll even it up. And Charisma at 10. Next up are the Tadpole Powers. Now, for the Tadpole Powers, I split into 2 categories, before and after using the Astral Touch Tadpole. So let's go ahead and start with the before, shall we? These are the Tadpole Powers that is definitely before using the Astral Touch Tadpole. Favorable beginnings, boosts attack rolls, or give you advantage in dialogue. This is really useful. I should say all the classes in games should definitely pick this one first. Charm prevents a foe attacking you for 1 turn. So a foe comes towards you, then you hit Charm. Next turn, they attack someone else. They ignore you. This will give you plenty of time to move away from them. Shield Thralls make a shield on you or your allies that has 10 hit points. When that goes, any foes around the area where the shield goes boom, well, they get stunned. This is a very good crowd control ability to abuse and use. Psionic Backlash. When an enemy within 9 meters casts a spell, use your reaction to inflict 1d4 psychotic damage to the caster per the spell level. This is really useful, so any caster is annoying you, pop this sucker and have some fun. Let's get to the after. Welcome to the halfway point of becoming a Mind Flayer. Well, anyways, you get some nice Tadpole Powers when you use the Astral Touch one. So here we go. Black Hole, OP AoE attack. This is very powerful. It has 5 charges. Late game, I should say towards the end of the game, it wipes out foes like crazy. Fly spell. This is just like the fly spells. Fly potion. You fly, you move around. Enemies come towards you, you fly away. Repulsor, AoE push back damage. So enemies come surrounding you, use this to push them back. Then you run away. Free cast. Next ability, spells, or anything else is free of charge to use. So you want to use the heal spell. You don't want to use a level 6 spell slot. Pop free cast. Then heal someone on your team, like for example a meat shield. That's about it for Tadpole Powers. Let's go ahead and talk about Gear Advice. I did split the gear into 2 parts. gear that you want to get by the end of Act 1, aka before entering the Shadow Curse Lands that leads into Act 2, and endgame gear. So let's go ahead and start with the gear by the end of Act 1. Pyro's Crown. When healing another person who wears this, gets 1 to 6 hit points regain. This is a nice healing item to use. Reward from Zevor for completing the Save the Refugee quest in Act 1. If you don't want to do that or you decide to side with the Absolute, here's a good alternative. Circlet Blast, a Scorching Ray, hurls 3 rays of fire. Each ray does 2 to 12 fire damage. You heard me right, Scorching Ray, very powerful arcane spell. This is set by Blurg in the Underdark in Act 1 at the Mushroom People Like Village. You can be visiting him quite a bit with this build, so let's move on. Here's some chest pieces I'm going to go ahead and suggest. Hedge Wanderer's Armor, gain a +1 bonus to dexterity save, throws, and checks. Gives you nature +1. Aron sells this in the Druid's Grove in Act 1. Now, if you find something better, go for the Amantite Scale Mail, if you could definitely use it. 16 AC, all incoming damage reduced by 1, cannot be critically hit upon. When an immediate attack hits you, the attacker is set relic for 2 turns, so they get -1 attack for 2 turns, which is good. At the Manti Forge in Underdark 2, which we call Grim Forge in Act 1. Defeat Grim, create this item, and that's about it. So let's get to the next set of equipment. The gloves. Hellrider's Pride. When you heal another creature, it gains resistance against blunt, piercing, slashing dealt by weapon attacks. This is very good. Now, you also get strength saves +1. Either kill Silver or steal this from in Act 1 at the Druid's Grove Tiefling side. You can also get this in Act 2 if you meet him again to go ahead and try to kill him or so. Now, here's a good alternative. Gloves of Missile Snaring. You can intercept missiles from ranged weapon attacks with reaction, reducing their damage from 1 to 10, plus your dex modifier. In our case, add 3 to that. Aron sells this at the Druid's Grove in Act 1. Yeah, the merchant there has some good beginner stuff. So let's get to the next set of equipment. Here's some footwear. Vital Conduct Boots. Grants the wearer 8 temporary hit points when they cast a spell that requires concentration. Oh, you're going to be getting that quite a bit at the start of the game, especially with the level, I should say, the second spell, the Moon one. Now, you also gain Athletics +1. Now, Merchant Jira in the Githyanki Crush in the Mountain Pass in Act 1 sells this as well. Another advice, definitely buy some Gloves of Dexterity there too before killing her. Here's a good alternative, Cinder's Shoes. When you burn a foe, you get heat. Heat is when you take 1 to 4 fire damage, however you get +1 fire damage to your fire spells. Again, Blurk sells this in the Underdark in Act 1. Yeah, you're going to be visiting that NPC quite a bit. Now for our necklaces, here we go. Amulet of Misty Step. Gain Misty Step just like the spell. Use it to teleport around, really useful for this build. In the Shatter Sanctum at True Sword Guts Quarters in Act 1. There's ways to get in there without a key, you'll see. Here's a good alternative. Pearl of Power Amulet restores 1 spell slot that is level 3 and lower. The Friendly Mind Flayer by Blurg in the Underdark will sell this to you after completing the Friendly Mind Flayer quest that requires you to go through the Arcane Tower in Act 1. Once you get 3 certain items there, and then pass some checks and such, you'll complete the quest and you have access to the special vendor. You definitely should want to do that. Next up the bat are the rings. The Whispering Promise. When the wearer heals a creature, it also receives Blessed. Gains a 1d4 bonus to attack rolls and saving throws for 2 turns. Volo in the Druid's Grove. Grat in the Goblin's Camp, or Ro in the Shadow Sanctum of Act 1 sells this. So check those 3 NPCs there big time to get it. Ring of Protection, AC +1 and saving throw +1. Completes Mo's quest in Act 1 at the Druid's Grove before finishing up the Investigate Kaga and or saving Halcyon in Act 1. Yeah, you gotta steal a statue, give it to Mole, and Mole will give you the ring. Now here's some good alternatives. Here's 2 of them. Crusher's Band. Your movement speed is 3+ M. Steal or loot this from Crusher. Get this at the Goblin Camp in Act 1. Go for the stealing. Unless you take him off, then kill him for it. The Sparks Wall cannot be electrocuted. Electric resistance does increase. At the Arcane Tower basement, Underdark in Act 1, you're going to be going there for something else. So you have access to that special vendor, the Friendly Mind Flayer. So get it there as well here. So let's get to the weapons. The Staff of Crones, Ray of Sickness, just like the spell, which does 2 to 12 damage, can poison targets. This is at the Critic Workshop, where you fought Auntie Ethel for the first time in Act 1. Here, use the key or Jimmy the Lock to go ahead and get in. Now, here's a nice alternative. Mel's First Staff. Now, this is what Arcane Enchantment does. You gain a +1 to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, which is very good. And 1 free use of Melt's Acid Arrow, just like the spell. Again, Blurk sells this in the Underdark at the Mitochondrial Colony in Act 1. You're going to buy everything from him. That's all I'm going to go ahead and say at this point. Let's move on to the shields. Here are the shields. Glowing Shield, this gives you +2 AC. When you have 50% or less hit points, you gain 8 temporary hit points. Northeast part beyond the Goblin Cap in Act 1. If you see many traps there, you're close by. It's inside a chest. Here's a good alternative. Wood Ward's Shield, +2 AC. When you use the wards in Snaring Strike, your foe cannot move. Foe takes 1d6 damage. Attacking foe with this gives you advantage against said foe. Foe has attacking and dex saving throw disadvantage as well being held. Drop from the Wood Wards in the Fetid Bog in Act 1. Now here's another alternative I saw list. Safeguard Shield, +2 AC, +1 saving throw. Damien sells this in Act 1 at the Druid's Grove, so you complete the Save the Refugee quest. He'll be gone next time you do a long rest. Let's get to the range, I should say weapons. Now, here's the deal about the ranged weapons. This is just used for utility. That's about it. Hunting Short Bow, Feller of Monsters. This means advantage against monstrous type enemies. One of the things you get is Hunter's Mark before long rest, just like the Ranger spell. Put it on a foe, then they get about extra damage you get to do against. Damien sells this at the Druid's Grove in Act 1. I'm going to be honest, just use the Hunter's Mark. Otherwise, your magical spells are your ranged weapons. So let's move on to endgame gear. Before I do start the endgame gear, so here's the deal. If it says Act 2, make sure you do state an error in said act, and do not leave it until you get said item. So let's start with the helmets. Helmet Baldur heals 2 hit points per round, +1 armor class, and saving throws. Those are really nice. Cannot be stunned. That's great for this build, by the way. Cannot be critical hit against. Another positive. Defeat the Wormway Trials and then the boss after to get this item. I decided to list 2 alternatives. The Helldust Helm can see through normal and magical darkness. If you're a human, that's great. Cannot be blinded at all. Another anti-crowd control you get to use. +2 saving throws against spells. Wears immune to critical hits. Another positive. At the House of Hope in a lock room in Act 3. Get it before leaving the House of Hope. Here's a good alternative as well. Another one. Hood of the Weave, Arcane Enchantment. That means you gain +2 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. For this build, it's really useful. Sold by the Mystic Charon in Act 3. So buy everything from Mystic Charon. Once you do, then if you want to do a quest to kill him, go ahead and do so. Let's go to the next set of equipment. Cloak of the Weave. You gain a +2 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. Now this will also do the following. Absorb elemental damage once per short rest. That means you also take half the elemental damage next time you hit with it, and you deal 1d6 of that elemental for your next attack. Sell by Helsk at the Devil's Fee in Act 1. I believe it's a special inventory, Sweet Talk Helsk, and to sell you that. Buy everything from her afterwards. Here's a nice alternative. Cloak of Protection, +1 AC and +1 saving throw. Sold by Quartermaster Tally at the Last Light Inn in Act 2. Yep, you heard me right. Buy everything from this Quartermaster, and believe me, there's some good stuff there. So yeah, clean her inventory out before moving on. Here's some chest pieces. Now this is different than my Cleric and Spellcaster ones, so here we go. Armor of Landfall. You gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC, advantage on Constitution saves. Green Bed Regeneration. When you start your turn on plant growth surface or vine surfaces, you regenerate 1d4 hit points. You also gain the plant growth like the spell, so you don't have to spell slot if you wanted to. It's once per long rest, but it is a very good item. So that's the Sorcerer's Sundries in Act 3, either by Roland or someone else there if Roland dies. Now, here's another alternative I want to list. Armor of the Spore Keeper. The wearer gains a +1 bonus to spell save DC, and this happens when you deal necro damage. They also deal additional 1 necro damage as well when you do that. While imbued with Symbiotic Entry, that's ability on the armor, you can also spread a whole bunch of spores. There's 3 types. Now, Mystic Charon sells this in Act 3. Once again, clean out his inventory. And if you want to kill him via quest, go ahead and do so. Here are some gloves, everyone. So, quick spell gloves. Level 0 spells that cost an action will cost a bonus action instead. Can be used once per short rest. So, you want to cast poison spray. Well, guess what? Pop this sucker. Your poison spray will become a bonus action instead. Very good level 0 spell option to have and abuse. Sold at the Sorcerer's Sundries in Act 3. Roland or someone else is there will sell it to you. Gemini gloves. Now, your level 0 spells targeting foes and allies can be used for additional targets. So, for example, Firebolt, you want to hit 2 targets instead of 1, or the same target twice with it. Well, hit this, you're good to go. Now, this can only be used once per short rest. Helsk at the Devil's Fee in Act 3 sells this. Like I said before, raid that inventory with your gold. So let's go ahead and talk about the next set of equipment. Now, next up to the bat are the boots. I have about 2 alternatives. Boots of Arcane Bolstering. Each time you dash, the wearer gains arcane charges. This means you have +2 bonus to spell damage. Really good. So run, then pop this spell next time if you need some spell damage up there. Now, the same person that gave you the strength potion sells you some other goodies in the Moonrise Tower in Act 2 also sells this. Raider inventory. She's the drow, by the way. Here's alternative. Helldust boots cannot be moved by magical or normal means. Now, you're immune to difficult terrain, just like the Druid and Ranger spell. When you fail a saving throw, you can use your reaction instead. Pretty good. Teleport to an area. When you do 2 to 16 fire damage. Now, Lord Gortash's room has this in a lockbox in Act 3. Either Jimmy the lock, kill Lord Gortash for it, or steal his key and open up the box. Here are some necklaces. Now, Spellcrux Amulet, Spell Slot Restoration, replenish a spend spell slot of any level as a bonus action. This is once per long rest. This is really good. So, you, for example, use up a level 6 spell slot with the, you guessed that beam spell. Yeah, we'll say that for example. Pop this sucker, it's restored a spell slot, and you get to cast it again. Extremely useful for spellcasters of all types. The Warden in Moonrise Tower prison drops this in Act 2. After you free the prison, you might have fought the Warden. If not, go kill the Warden. You could try steal from the Warden as well. Here's a good alternative. Amulet of Greater Health. Constitution set to 23. Advantage on Constitution saving throws. In the archives at the House of Hope in Act 3. I advise definitely getting the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength as well for another party member. Yeah, raid the place. There's some good stuff there. Here are some rings. Killer Sweetheart. When you kill a creature, your next attack roll will be a critical hit. Yeah, this is really useful. This is once per long rest, but still, this is great. This is at the self-same trial in the Gauntlet of Shar in Act 2. Now, usually the NPC that drops this looks like you, or your race at least, so loot the body up before going on. Shifted Corpus Ring. This will grant you invisibility like the spell and blur like the spell. Each require long rest after use. Flame Fist Marcus at the last light in Act 2 drops this. You can try to steal it from him if you decide to side with the Absolute. Now here's some alternatives. Ring of Free Action. You ignore the effects of difficult terrain and cannot be paralyzed or restrained. Now the same person, like I said before, has a Strength Potion NPC. She sells this as well. Clean out her inventory. Crypt Lord Ring. Create undead. Use a corpse to summon a mummy to fight for you. This is where the part you got to murder the Mystic Charon in order to get this ring. There's a quest to do that. So let's go ahead and talk about, you guessed it, weapons. The Mark O. Heshkir, it's hard to pronounce, it's a legendary staff. You get a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. You also get Arcane Barrier. This is when you click on the icon, the spell is free for you to cast. You also get Kishashka's Favor. You get 50% resistance of your elemental choice and the spells along with it. Long rest applies after. Now, this is located inside the Globe of Invulnerability and at the Remsit Tower in Act 3. This is at the Sorcerer's Sundries in order to get to that tower. Best staff in the game. For some reason, you cannot get it, or you want to do what some people are doing, dual-wielding staffs. Staff of Spell Power. You get +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. You also get Arcane Barrier, just like the other thing. Found in a locked room in the House of Hope in Act 3. Here are some endgame shields. Vancia's Walking Fortress, +3 AC, Rebuke of the Might. When a foe hits you with a melee attack, you can use reaction, make your foe take a dexterity save throw. They fail, they are prone. That means they're down for 1 round. If not, they succeed. Fail or save on their saving throw, they still take 2 to 8 force damage. You have saving throws on spells, and some foes attacking you will have a disadvantage. Reflective Shell force foes' projectiles will be thrown back at them. Warding Bomb if you decide to use it. Allies you pick will gain the +1 AC, +1 saving throws, and both of you take the same damage as shared damage. You know who drops this under the House of Grief in Act 3. You know who when you definitely see it. So let's move to the other shield. Shield of Devotion, AC +2. You also gain 1 additional level 1 spell slot. You also gain Shield Bash. After you make a melee attack, you use your reaction to put your foe into a prone position. Dex saves, if they make it, they will not be prone. If not, they'll be knocked on the ground for 1 round. You also get aid just like the spell. Your allies get healed, plus their hit points increase by 5 temporarily. Quartermaster Tally in the Last Light in Act 2 sells this. Like I said, clean out her inventory. We are only going to use the ranged weapons for what's their bonuses. So here we go. Now this one's Darkfire Shortbow, +2 shortbow, gain resistance to fire and ice. Again, we're only using that. Can cast a haste spell. We're definitely going to be using that. Free haste is fine. Damien sells this in Act 2. Now, for some reason, if you get lucky, he survives in Act 2 to 3. He'll sell in Act 3 as well. Just only use the haste feature for a shortbow and definitely abuse the resistance to fire and ice. I would definitely say otherwise, go use your level 0 to 6 spells for ranged DPS. That's about it for gear advice. Let's talk about potions and elixirs next. So we're going to go ahead and talk about potion and elixir suggestions. I did not add oils because you have to get in melee range in order to use said weapons to have the effects of the oils on your foes and such. That's the main reason why we're not a melee build, we're more of a range type A build. So let's go ahead and start with potions. Even though you do have healing spells, from time to time, if you made some mistakes, you run out of some spell slots, especially the ones that has healing, well, get yourself some healing potions. Keep it on you at all times. You may never know when you need it. Also, you don't want to spend a spell slot where you can just pop a healing potion to heal the same amount. Potion of Haste. This is one of the most abused potions in the entire game. Gain an extra action, +2 AC, advantages on dex saving throws, and double movement speed. This is a really great potion. Abuse it and it gets bosses. Potion of Flying, same as the fly spell. Somebody's coming your way, you use the fly spell, boom, you fly away. I say Potion of Flying. Now another thing is Potion of Angelic Slumber. Drinker goes to sleep for 2 rounds. When they wake up, it's like they have a long rest. So as long as they don't get disturbed, then guess what? Yeah, they get healed up fully. This is a nice emergency potion. Drink before, I should say, a hard battle, when you use all your spell slots just to get to a hard boss. So let's talk about elixirs. Here are some suggested elixirs. Elixirs of Vigilance. Gain +5 bonus to initiative. That is useful and cannot be surprised. That's really useful. From time, your perception check with high wisdom will fail. Pop one of these suckers. Well, guess what? You're not going to be surprised. Elixirs of Viciousness. Increase your chance to land a critical hit. You want something that's always give you odds for getting critical hit? This is a good one. Elixir of Bloodlust. Upon killing your foe, you gain 5 temporary hit points and an extra bonus action. That's always good. Here's another one. Elixir of Peerless Focus. Gain advantage on concentration saves. So, for example, you're doing Call Lightning, right? And then you want to focus on keep on using it after you use your one of your spell slots for it. It's really good. Supreme Elixir of Arcane Cultivation. Gain an extra level 4 spell slot. There's lesser versions of it that has 1 to 3. Use those as well. That's about it for potions and elixirs. Let's talk about the combat test. Now, later on when you get into Act 2, you're going to start to get some good spells. Usually a good idea to have someone to open up the combat. If you can yourself, go ahead and do so. What I did was I decided to use Gale to set up the battle. So this way I get to demonstrate the Ice Storm spell. Yeah, it's another one of those spells that's wide AoE effect that you could definitely use and abuse. And if you couple it with some other spells from the other party members, you'll do a lot more damage. See, we're already going to have some fun with Fireball as well. So me, make sure I just aim at the right person. And okay, we'll just change it. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm just trying to get Shadowheart to do some nice damage. Let's see here, Guardian of Faith. But still, you want to make sure your party members will help you out greatly. So I'm just going to put this down. And there you go. Okay, we eliminated that foe. And now what we're going to do is use our Druid here to, yeah, you guessed it, cast Ice Storm. Yeah, definitely abuse that. Later on, you get some much more powerful spells. You get to use and abuse. And if you're in trouble, as always, heal up. So that's about this demonstration for Act 2. Let's go to Act 3. Now you're in a city environment, so it'll be hard to do Ice Storm. You have to improvise with Call Lightning or any other spells as well. So here's the deal. You want to make sure your characters either weaken things up for you, or better yet, you weaken them up for them. So anyways, we'll use Call Lightning. Now, if you notice that Jaheira now has Mirror Image, great idea to definitely cast that before hard battles like this. So this way you'll do some really good protection on yourself. Yep, that's right. 9 AC is always nice. So we got a distraction here going. So I'm going to have Jaheira set up the, you guessed it, the Call Lightning spell. Let me make sure I get a higher grade. I try to do is the other one we can't do that. So let's go ahead and aim for these fools. And there we go. We just eliminated 1 and 2 of them at half health, which is great. And we get to use it in the next round as well. If things start to look down, definitely heal or use any other spells that will hinder your foe's movements. Just remember you have difficult terrain, so you can move around away while your foes are stuck moving very slow. Here's some final advice before I do end this build video. So when you start out, you're going to have very few options, and later on you're going to have some great options to help you out greatly. Another thing I want to definitely say is this Call Lightning will be your friend for a while. Then you move up to Ice Storm, and then you move up to that Sunbeam spell. Also, don't be afraid to summon pets because they are really helpful. Like the one I definitely use with, I should say, Jaheira. Speaking of Jaheira, she is perfect for this build as well. If you want to buff up, that is fine. Another good thing is Mirror Image. That is always very nice. Just remember, you'll be concentrating quite a bit, so try not to get into the thick of things and let everybody else definitely get into, you guess, the thick of things. One more thing is, if you need to heal, go ahead and do so. And as always, experiment, experiment, experiment. This is it from my Baldur's Gate 3 Pure Druid Circle of the Land Ultimate DPS build video. This is Lord Fenton signing off. Thanks for watching, and have a great day or night. Please stay safe. Please subscribe to my channel for more classic and modern Dungeons & Dragons walkthroughs, builds, guides, and more just like this. If you like what you see, then go ahead and pick my suggestion on the upper left-hand corner or YouTube suggestion on the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and relax in this nice chair.